I get asked about these three things so often in my coaching practice: coffee, sugar, and alcohol. And what I'm about to tell you may actually surprise you. Most of what you've been told about these things have been wrong. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the real science between caffeine, sugar, and alcohol, especially when you're trying to conceive. What you're about to learn is going to change your approach to your fertility journey. Trying to conceive isn't just a physical journey. It's one of the most mentally and emotionally demanding experiences a couple can go through. And it's time we start talking about all of it. Hi, I'm Denise Erez, your fertility godmother, and this show is for the woman who wants to optimize their health, who is trying to conceive and wants real, honest support, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, without the overwhelm. Because this journey isn't just about getting pregnant. It's about who you become through it. And you don't have to navigate it alone. So take a deep breath. You're in the right place. Let's do this together. And welcome to the Fertility Godmother Show. Hi, if you're like my client Rachel, like most of my clients, you probably really love your coffee and have been told you have to give up everything that really brings you joy. Things like coffee and wine and chocolate and social events. I've seen amazing women turn their fertility journey into a prison full of restrictions based on myths and science. Today, I'm breaking down the research-backed truth based off of how much caffeine is safe, why the alcohol debate is more complex than you think, and the hidden sugar sources sabotaging your hormones. So grab your pen and paper and your favorite beverage, and yes, you can have a cup of coffee. And let's dive into the facts your fertility journey needs. Every time I have a new client, one of the first things out of their mouths is, do I have to give up my coffee? And every time I watch their face drop and they kind of clench up, thinking that I'm going to say, yes, you have to absolutely get rid of your coffee. But here's what I tell them, and here's what I'm going to tell you. In my opinion, for optimal health, not having coffee every single day would bring you to ideal health. Yet, the research shows that you can have under 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. To me, that feels like a lot. And if you're having way more than that, then that's not going to feel like enough for you. But here's the thing. The research does show that you can have under 400 milligrams of coffee a day. So that's about 1 to 2 cups of regular sized cups of coffee. Right, so we also want to look at what we're putting in the coffee, the time of day we're drinking the coffee, are we drinking it with food? All those things also matter. And the timing, because we definitely, if coffee is interrupting your sleep, or if coffee is causing more anxiety, because it can do that as well, then we definitely want to cut it out completely. Right, so a lot of times I've helped women with anxiety just get off the coffee. They thought that they were really anxious, but it turned out that they were just drinking so much coffee that it made them feel anxious. And sometimes if you can't break down caffeine fast enough, it's going to interrupt your sleep. I'm one of those people who can't have caffeine past 10, pushing it 12 o'clock, because my body breaks it down really, really slowly. But I know people who can drink it right before bed and not have a problem. So even if you're one of those people that can drink it right before bed and not have a problem, it doesn't mean that it's not having a physiological effect on you. So you still want to be in those guidelines of under 400, even under 200 milligrams per day. So there you go. You don't have to completely eliminate caffeine. Now, if you are getting your caffeine from sodas or energy drinks, then this is a big concern, because those things are also combined with a bunch of sugar and chemicals and really high doses of caffeine. So not only is it bad for your brain, your heart, it's really bad for your fertility, sperm quality, and egg quality. Most of the time I see the male partners drinking those energy drinks, but I know some women do as well. And I highly recommend that you switch that to, if you need the caffeine, to having some espresso or some tea, even some green tea can be very helpful for you. So as a fertility coach, I really like to look at the whole picture. And what you want to know is caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, meaning it decreases blood flow. It can interfere with some nutrient absorption, things like iron and folate, which are critical for your fertility. And it can also impact sleep. And there's some research that shows like too much caffeine can reduce muscle activity in the fallopian tubes, which can impact how the egg is traveling into the uterus. The good news is a moderate amount of caffeine does not impact fertility. And yet again, we really want to look at the whole picture in each individual person. And in my biased opinion, if you want optimal health, if you're somebody searching for optimal health, then I think that really limiting that caffeine can be very beneficial for you. But you don't have to. So here's how I help my clients navigate through the caffeine that really don't want to give up their coffee. And that is have a time strategy, like making sure that it's either before 2, the very latest, or 12, depending on how sensitive you are, so that it doesn't impact your sleep. Really watching the amount and the size of your cup. Choosing high quality organic coffee that's not highly processed is really helpful. Having your coffee with food or making sure you're balancing it out so that it slows down the absorption. And really listen to your body. If you start to feel anxious or jittery or interfere with your sleep, then let's really take a look and cut that back. And again, that goes for sodas too. A lot of sodas do have caffeine and a lot of other things that are toxic to our bodies. So the goal here isn't perfection, right? It's really finding what works for you and finding that moderation. So I had a client who was having 6 cups of coffee a day. And so what we did is we just decreased it to 1 really good cup, where she created a nice morning ritual where she just really enjoyed her 1 cup of coffee. But what was amazing was she actually felt more energy, she didn't feel anxious, and she slept way better. So now let's talk about alcohol. I'm going to share with you the nuanced truth, not necessarily the black and white advice you usually hear. As a fertility coach, I see how this affects my clients' social life, relationships, and mental health. So the truth is the research on alcohol is mixed. Some studies show you can have a few drinks a week and it doesn't impact, and some show that even a light amount of alcohol can really impact your fertility. So what do? Well, we do know that heavy drinking absolutely does impact fertility for both men and women. So here's what the research shows. Heavy drinking, meaning more than 7 drinks per week, can really impact hormone balance. Some studies show that anywhere between 3 to 6 drinks per week slowed the rate of conception down significantly. Alcohol can deplete nutrients such as zinc and B vitamins. And our partners with sperm, heavy drinking can significantly impact the sperm quality and the health of the sperm. So most fertility experts are going to ask you to either limit or completely eliminate the use of alcohol when you're trying to conceive. And it's not to take away your fun. It's because we really want to optimize your chances of conceiving a healthy baby and having a healthy pregnancy while you're investing so much time and energy and hope into this journey. And I know you want to give your baby the best chances possible. So here's how I help my clients navigate that. Really track how much alcohol you have per week. No judgment, just really monitor that so that you're really mindful. Find some amazing alternatives. We live in a time where there's alternatives for everything, and there's some great mocktails now that can be really fun. Or you can even do like a kombucha and put it in a fun wine glass or a martini glass, and just that alone feels really good. I remember doing a cleanse with my husband many years ago, and we really loved drinking wine with our dinner, and we couldn't have any wine. So we asked the waiter to put soda water, sparkling water, in a wine glass, and we were so excited. It just felt so awesome. So that's kind of a trick that we do, because there's just something about holding the glass, right? And if you're using alcohol to kind of reduce the stress at the end of the day, then focus on some other things, like maybe some quiet music or a nice bath or having some quiet time to read, going for a walk, meditating, or even trying an adaptogenic mocktail, which means they're full of herbs that are safe. Usually there are mushrooms that can help you just calm your nervous system down. And remember, this is really a season, it's not forever. And during those social situations where it may feel a little bit awkward, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You can tell somebody that you're on a health challenge, or you can be honest with them and let them know that you're trying to conceive, that you're doing your best to get in optimal health. There's no shame in that. And the people that matter to you will probably support you no matter what. And you'll know the people that you need to stay quiet with. Because if they don't support you, well, that gives you a lot of information about them. Now let's talk about sugar, and this is where some of the greatest aha moments come in. It's not the obvious cake or candy that's the problem. It's those hidden sugars in foods, especially those that are marketed to be healthy, that are wreaking havoc on our hormones. One of the first things I do with my coaching clients is put them on this fertility reset diet that I created for them. And one of the reasons is to help them find the hidden sugars almost all the time. Their biggest aha is realizing how much hidden sugar is in the food. So when we start reading the labels, we start really noticing, oh wow, I didn't realize there was so much sugar in that. So things like flavored yogurts, where we think is healthy, but if you look at the amount of sugar in there, it's usually super high. Sometimes people think juice is healthy when it's really loaded with a ton of sugar. Granola bars, salad dressings, pasta sauce, ketchup, and even protein bars. Now there are some of these things that have lower sugar and don't have added sugar, but we really have to be mindful and look for them. And no, I'm not saying to never eat these things. I just want you to realize what you're putting in your body, because it's going to make a huge difference. And having too much sugar increases insulin, which increases inflammation, which makes it harder to balance our hormones, because sugar plays massive havoc on our hormones. If you have PCOS, it can make it worse. It can make PMS worse. Because it increases inflammation, it can decrease egg quality, and it can impact your weight, which can also play a huge role in your fertility and egg quality. So my approach to helping clients manage sugar: become a label detective. Look for those ingredients that have OSC, which is the scientific term for sugar, like glucose, sucrose, fructose, high fructose corn syrup. Always eat your fiber, protein, and fat first before you eat sugary foods to help balance that out. Choose complex carbs like buckwheat or sweet potatoes, steel cut oats. Eat the whole fruit. Don't juice the fruit. That way you're getting that fiber in the fruit. When we juice, you're juicing like 3 apples to get a little tiny bit of apple juice. We're not going to really eat 3 apples in one sitting. Add cinnamon that helps stabilize your blood sugar, or other supplements that can help you support it if it's really becoming a problem for you. So again, this isn't about restriction. It's really about being mindful about what you're putting into your body. I had a client recently who struggled with an eating disorder, and we had the conversation about no food is bad. And I said, I agree, there's no food that's bad, but could we agree that there are foods that are better for us than others? There are foods that we know cause disease and harm and havoc in our bodies, and there are foods that nourish our bodies and fuel our bodies and help our bodies heal. So it's not really about cutting out everything. It's really about finding that balance. And I usually like to live on an 80-20 rule for the most part. 80% eating healthy and foods that are nourishing and healing, and then 20% the other. So I want to challenge you to pick one thing and commit to it for the next week. Maybe it's having 1 cup of coffee with your breakfast and not on an empty stomach. Maybe it's reading labels on your to-go snacks. These small, consistent changes are going to really make lasting change. So drop a comment below and let me know which strategy you're going to do first. I read every comment and love connecting with you. If this was helpful for you, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with somebody you know can benefit from this information as well. And if you want more personal guidance on your fertility journey, you can click the link in the description below and sign up for a free connection call. So remember, small changes are more powerful than you think. Your fertility journey is unique, and you deserve the support that honors that. I'm here cheering you every step of the way.